Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I think this is the episode of the year for a lot of our viewers. Last year was a great time, 2021 brackets, but we're back 2022 selection
Sure.
Sunday. Both our teams made the playoffs once again, and we're joined by Ethan Castles. Yeah.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Oh,
Yes,
and you
sir.
have a new job now. You're no longer at Prep to Prep, right? You're at SF Standard.
That is correct. So I've seen, instead of really like covering the whole CCS, it's more San Francisco focused. So I've seen a lot of the three San Francisco WCAL teams, also seen the city public schools, which, form their own section, and get
Yeah.
into a whole discussion about, the merits of the, different sections and different systems. We were kind of doing that off camera, but
Yeah.
I've still seen a decent amount of the CCS this year. I can't say I've seen like the southern half of the section like I did last year. I haven't really seen much of the PCAL, for example. In
Ooh.
fact, I don't know if I think, let's see, other than Hollister, I don't know if I've seen anyone down in that league, which is too bad because it's a fun league,
And the food there
which I
is
know
top
you'll
tier.
get, you guys will both get a taste of PCAL opponents this week, although it,
Yeah,
teams from different divisions, but get into all that in a bit.
yeah. Two sides of the scale.
Yeah. So starting, we're gonna show off our predictions that we did in August. It was the week before the season started. I'm sure Ethan's curious in looking at these. And yeah, let's check them out. So we predicted all the Bay stuff, blah blah blah. WCal. I think we both got the champs right.
Yeah.
St. Francis, 2. So that was right. I had SHC at 3, which I think turned out right. I was a little too hot on Reardon.
I think a
Um,
lot of people were.
yeah,
And to be fair to Reardon, they got hit with a lot of injuries to a lot of their most key guys. Like, the moment one guy gets back, someone else goes down. Like it started in that SHP game when King Jasani Wilhite and Zachary Jones got hurt. Then Jones gets
yeah.
back, and it's like, all right, now Zion Wells goes down. Like final minutes against SHC last week. Isaiah Chala, their stud defensive end, who's definitely going to be a Pac-12 player or other P5 conference, breaks his finger, and they didn't have him Friday night, and really couldn't do much against SI's offense because of it. So it was just, you know, they're building something, but I think it's going to take a little longer to arrive than people initially thought. And I think also realizing like the teams they beat in non-league play not being all that good as it turned out
Mhm. And
kind of
then
weathers things.
we both were obviously wrong about MIDI.
Yeah.
What a story, man. Um, I saw them only once. I bet the Midi Los Gatos game this Friday is going to be packed. It's going to be kind of like the Los Gatos Bellarmine game last year. It's like
Yeah.
a lot of kids from Los Gatos go to Midi. If you remember Midi star Jake Rip last year, who's I believe he's at least was committed to Boise. I would imagine he's there. His
Yeah.
brother is actually at Midi, so
Got it.
it's like everyone knows everyone. That type of deal. That's going to be fun. I only saw them against Reardon, but they're good. They can score in bunches. They're just super fast and
Yeah. They had that. We played them in the scrimmage and sevens. That Scudero kid they have just runs by everyone.
there was one play against Reardon where it really showed. It's one thing if you get behind the defense and guys like, there's a missed assignment or something, but guy was matching him for stride. And Reardon had tons of speed at the skill positions. And then as the ball's coming in, he just goes into another gear and takes off and catches it and gets in the end zone. It's just moments like that. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's crazy.
And yeah, let's get into the current predictions, but SCVAL or Deanza, whatever. We both got that correct. I don't know what my deal was with Homestead. I don't know where I got that from. But
They had they had a decent amount of returners, and
yeah.
I mean, well, the thing with Wilcox though, they graduated their best runner, Luther Glenn, but they have a lot else back. The big left tackle,
Yeah.
Justin Hilkema, he's a monster.
And we both got the last place team right. So we did a good job there.
I
All
thought I thought Mountain View was going to end up a little stronger. I saw them at the start of the year against Kings Academy, and they looked
they
pretty
did,
decent.
yeah. They looked really good that game. And
Did I
they were
did
the
I have it
scoring
right?
of Mercury. Yeah, Oliver.
Did I have it right besides Homestead Palto switched?
I think you did, Oliver. Yeah. It looks like you, yeah.
All
So
right.
you almost got it perfect.
Yeah, I'm going to pull up, try to check on that. Yeah, not bad.
Sir Oliver.
Sure. I mean,
Yeah, and Homestead and Palo Alto, ended up tied. It was just head to head was the difference there.
yeah, that was frustrating because we lost our quarterback and didn't really have a backup plan there, which wasn't ideal.
Homestead squeaked out a few tight games. I think they're gonna be an interesting one when we get into the brackets later. What about do you guys do like PAL Bay? Let's
Yeah,
see
here we
that.
go. So I got it right perfectly, I think,
Nicely done.
actually.
Oh yeah.
Oliver didn't
Well,
believe in the SHP story, but to be fair,
technically,
Julian, yeah.
if we're gonna be super technical, Half Moon Bay finished second by head to head.
Oh, oh wow, yeah, you're right. Yeah, they beat out. No, but didn't they lose the BHS?
Yes, but they have head to head with MA, so both went 3-2.
Oh yeah, because
And
SC
Half Moon Bay
they
had head
lost to
to
us.
head.
Okay, you're right. Yeah,
Yeah,
got it.
that game against Burlingame, they didn't have Harrington, the QE, but still, that was a really good win for Burlingame. I'm
Shocking
Burlingame
result.
alum, seen them play a bunch. Burlingame did an awesome job considering like what they didn't have compared to last year.
Yeah,
They're young, they're small, they don't have like the big time playmakers, but they were in almost every game all year.
and what a shocking result though. Half Bay losing to Terra Nova yesterday or Friday. That
Yeah.
was crazy.
Like the Skull game has had some weird ones over the years. Like
Whole
I
game.
try to keep up with each rivalry's history, and some of them are well documented, some are not. This is one that is well documented, and like Half Moon Bay's never won more than like 3 years in a row against them, and
Hmm.
they've especially struggled at home against Terra Nova. It's
Hmm.
like it's one of those games where you can actually say, yeah, throw out the records, which a lot of times the cliche that's just totally not
Yeah.
true, but for that one you can.
The Battle of the Ocean Towns. Okay, so now what you've been waiting for, our predictions. What I'm most proud about is look at my 4-5. Obviously, it's flipped, but I got that matchup correct. Just pretty
Nice.
crazy in August. So I went 6 for 8. I think Oliver was 4 or 5 for 8. On the 8 teams.
Yeah,
Yeah, you were 4.
I didn't get Wilcox,
Oh
Bellarmine.
no. Oliver's got I see 5.
You're 5. Sorry, yeah, you're 5. You got Cathedral. Yeah, so Oliver's 5. I'm 6. So pretty good showing from CO Sports.
Yeah. And injury, MA is a what if Jurion's healthy. Wilcox was ninth. They're the 1 seed
Yeah.
D2. Nobody saw Palma being this good, including me. I saw them play Salinas last year, and it was like, man, other than Logan Saldate, the really quality, now a junior, class of 24 receiver, they were graduating a ton. And they've had a great year. They beat SHC. They beat Aptos on a last second field goal. They've totally exceeded expectations of pretty much everyone's expectations. So they deserve a lot of credit, even though, nobody wants to be number 8 with just how far above and beyond Sarah is right now. But still,
Yeah.
Right.
they deserve a lot of credit for a great season.
Starting it up, we got Willow Glen as the last team in. Like the Mr. Irrelevant, they say in the NFL draft, Brock Purdy. They're playing Westmont, who's the 1, Pally 2, Stevenson 7, Pioneer 4, Monterey 5, Woodside 6, Seaside 3. So which of these 8 teams have you seen, Ethan? And then Oliver obviously can talk about Pally.
I've seen Westmont, Pioneer, and Palo Alto. I wouldn't quite compare Willow Glen to Mr. Irrelevant. I think it's more like, the teams that get stiff with the play-in game in college basketball.
Oh,
Side
yeah.
note, those play-in games should be for like the last 8 at larges. Nobody that's a conference champ should be sent to a play-in game. They should get like
Yeah.
the full media day experience and everything.
I know that. I always do feel bad for like Radford.
Like if you're Norfolk
University
State, it's like
or like
you shouldn't have
Bradley.
to go play on
Yeah,
Tuesday.
that's true.
No
No one watches
disrespect to
that.
Dayton, Ohio.
That's true. That's the day that everyone downloads True TV or re gets their
Oh yeah.
subscription to that.
Oh,
I mean, I have it because you can watch Impractical Jokers on there.
sure.
True.
Like a reason to have it. So you've seen. Would you
Yeah, I
said
saw
you
Westmont, saw them beat Leland. That's a team. Gonna be a common thing that I say throughout this. Like they won a close game over Leland. Leland was like 2-8, and all but a couple of their losses were like 1-score games.
Oh, I'm curious what one of their wins was, Oliver.
I don't know. That's the flukiest game of the year.
Westmont though, they're not bad. They're pretty senior heavy. They graduated a couple of really good like overall athletes last year, but they got a running back named Jacob Lang who's really strong. returning QB Zachary Zapata. The BVAL hasn't done very well in these playoffs the last few years, but Westmont could go on a nice run.
What are your
Pioneer saw them lose to Branham with the league championship on the line the other night. They were missing a couple things at running back, and they looked really bad offensively. I don't know how much that was the guys they were missing. But they're
How's
going to need to play a
Seaside?
lot better.
Seaside is where your guy Bouye went from USF, right?
Well, he went to Palma, but like he was born in
Oh,
Seaside.
God, that's a big
The Monterey High basketball coach will tell you how he was like one of their ball boys, and he thought he was going to have him, then he ends up going private instead.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But Seaside, what I remember from last year, not huge roster numbers. They, by roster numbers, they totally fit in a place like D5, but they got some athletes. They got a kid named Jeter Olivares, who's kind of like best football, basketball, everything player. I know Monterey's gotten right under a new head coach, and they've got pretty good talent there. I think they'll be back into the A division in their league soon.
Yeah.
And
Stevenson's a boarding school, right?
Yeah, like very fancy private school in Pebble Beach.
I bet their golf
want to say like decent list of alumni and stuff. Definitely like fancy place to send your kids. I want to say Trevor Bauer's agent went there.
that check.
Rachel Luba?
Yeah, because I know she's from that area.
That is a random shout, Ethan. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I follow a lot of the before everything went down with Bauer. I like to watch his vlogs and stuff. It was cool getting that inside look, and then obviously stuff happened there.
Yeah.
But
what are your thoughts on an A division team being in D5? I know there's a lot of controversy on Twitter today.
Yeah, I'm not huge on that. I'd much rather see you guys up in a higher division because it's like you look at the other programs here and you look at the seasons they've had and the context of it. And, the numbers are great, but the numbers don't quite take in context. We're like, Westmont, this is their best season in ages. Willow Glen is a program that was once an A-League team, went down to B and then finally C. And there's, they're like starting to dig themselves out.
Mm-hmm.
Stevenson, tiny school. Monterey program getting on the right track. You guys are kind of just like an awkward fit there.
Yeah.
I mean, even though I know roster numbers aren't what they were, this is a team that won like a legit D1 state title, even when, you were in like elementary school then. But
yeah,
it's like just you look at like the program's histories.
Yeah,
it doesn't quite line up. And I'd love to see some way to fix that.
Yeah, it's tough.
And that's somewhere that you'd have to go beyond math and objectivity and have to do something subjective with a committee.
That's a really good point you make. And I'll throw in some tweets, Oliver, of a lot of journalists around the Bay Area, rightfully so, being a little bit upset. I mean, some a little too upset, saying like Pally's going to beat their chest over these small schools. Like, obviously, it's not Pally's choice to be in this. I'm sure a lot of them are saying like, we're just going to play the system. We don't agree with it. I mean, that's what Sacred Heart said last year. But yeah, it's a lot of small schools and then Pally, which is a huge school.
Yeah. But we're not even the 1 seed though, but do you still think we're going to run away with this thing, or do you think it's going to be
Yeah, who do you got?
I think last year it was really easy to see who was going to win, like the lower divisions, especially D3 and D4. D4 and D5, you can make an argument for a lot of these teams. I think Monterey and Seaside are both pretty dangerous. No disrespect to the bottom 3 teams, but playing in C leagues, they just haven't played on that level.
Yeah.
You could make a case really for any of the other 5, though. So I mean, when I'm going to try to start filling out my brackets tonight, I'm going to have to think about this pretty considerably. It probably doesn't help that I saw you guys before your offense got it figured out, because obviously you guys have put up much better offensive numbers lately against a couple of quality teams, like 48 on Mountain View. That's legit. I know you got a couple of defensive scores in that, but still, obviously you guys have figured things out on the offensive side.
Yeah, for sure. The last 3-4 games, we finally got our pass game going. So 3-game win streak. Obviously a Jefferson forfeit helped that. But
say your take about San Bruno and Jefferson real quick, Ethan. That was interesting to me and Oliver.
yeah, there's a lot of football talent in Daly City, but it's almost all at WCAL schools, or there are a couple that still go over to Terra Nova because Terra Nova is within their school district. And it's a tough spot. I talk with the coach at Jefferson a lot, and their school's enrollment isn't big to begin with. And when kids that are in your area are going to Sarah, Reardon, St. Ignatius, it doesn't help.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
Also, do you know why Stevenson only played 8 games?
Yeah, I think just their school years doesn't start early enough.
Oh.
And since they're a boarding school, it's not like you're gonna be able to really do like fall practices, at the start of the year before school starts when
the
you have
first
kids
game
from
was in
around the
September.
area. And then I think they had one game canceled because one of the teams was, I'm not sure if it was them or their opponent. It was like a prestigious academic boarding school, whatever, from SoCal. But one of them had enough of a COVID outbreak that they went from 9 games to 8. But they usually only play like 9 anyway.
Oh, okay.
Wow. So Stevenson, the team Oliver that will be in Palo Alto Oliver play has guys from like the East Coast. That's wild.
I gotta say, don't sleep on them. The team that won like that their league last year, St. Francis Watsonville, that's up in D4 now. They were the 7 seed, and they made it all the way to the championship game.
That's true. They did make a little
And that
run.
was one like when I had like 20 some people in that bracket contest last year. I don't think like anyone even had them winning their first round game.
Yeah, they played Aragon. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and there's no Andrew Hill this year. That was Mr. Irrelevant last year.
Yeah, they went 0-10.
Oh.
It would have been between like them and Gunn for like lowest of the low in the section.
Wait, what about Harker? Yeah, I was wondering that. Who is considered
I
probably
thought there was a team called like James Lick too or something.
Yeah, James Lick beat Andrew Hill.
Oh, okay.
But Harker is like they play like a sort of independent schedule. I think they play some 8-man games, some 11-man. So I don't even know what to make of them. I just know that there was. I can tell you that if you included like the San Francisco public schools in it, Burton, who's at the bottom there, would be at the bottom of this.
really.
Yeah, they lost to Harker like 58-0.
I feel bad for those San Francisco public school man's teams because a lot of those players go to private schools and they got to join CCS.
A lot of them don't just go to private schools within San Francisco. A lot of them go down to Sarah or farther.
Yeah, I know it's brutal. Yes, but about this, you're right, man. I can make a case. And then, I was gonna say we got to set up a Gunn versus Andrew Hill on Thanksgiving matchup at Stanford Stadium to see who is the worst team in the section. I think
it's like I don't know if you follow soccer at all. Have you ever heard of the other final?
No.
maybe.
So the Netherlands missed the World Cup in 2002. So this Dutch guy organized a game to be played on the day of the World Cup final between the 2 worst teams in the world, Bhutan and Montserrat, and he did a whole documentary about it. And it's in YouTube. It's cut up into like, I don't know, 5, 7 parts. It's fun.
That's amazing. Yeah, we should do that. But yeah, so for my predictions, first I'll go. Shout out Westmont. They have a really good stadium. I mean, they hosted the CCS D1 championship last year. There's a shooting there, actually.
They hosted like 3 championship games. It's a really nice facility, nice field, good lighting, big press box, or decent sized press box.
You know where it's going to be this year? I'm hoping D1 they can span out, maybe go to San Jose State, Stanford, or something. But I doubt they.
I don't know. I hope just it's games that are good locations for both schools so that fans can roll up.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm going to go Westmont. I'm going to go Monterey for a little upset. But yeah, so Westmont, Monterey, and then I like Pally to beat the Stevenson guys. Closer than the experts think. I think Stevenson's on a little roll, but I like Palo Alto to get done. Seaside to get it done as well. Seaside Pally's going to be close. I'm going to go Pally, and I hate to be like a rock climber, but I'm going all chalk. Westmont, Pally, and Westmont gets D5 done.
Ryan, say hi to people. I know you don't like other people.
What's up, buddy?
How you doing? Not a friend
my
of
son.
The people.
So yeah, I wouldn't bet Woodside just because they kind of had a hard time with Gunn. They ended up winning by a lot though.
They're a C League team and they've had a good year, but it's tough for C League teams to go on big runs. I do want to say the nice thing about the C Leagues and the Daily Journal's had some good stuff on this where they've talked about, like the Lake divisions, all the stuff with the PAL, SCBAL merger. it's nice that programs that like a lot of years struggle to even get through the whole season with a team without having to forfeit have like something to play for. Plus, you know, kids want to win, even even if the relative level of competition is low, and then they see their friends having fun, more people show up to the games, more people join the roster, and it's got to start somewhere. So hopefully some of those teams can really parlay that into like long-term success and elevate their programs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Oliver, who you like D5?
I mean, I don't really know much about any of these teams. I'll take Westmont. I know Monterey is a decent little team, but Pioneer's having a good year. I'll go Pioneer. I think I'm just gonna go all chalk first round. Um, then I like Pally over Seaside. And then I'll go Pioneer Pally, little rematch of last year, and then Pally winning it.
Yeah. And we've touched on every team here so far except Woodside. Woodside has a solid season going on. I know they're a C League, but 8-2.
Yeah, now they got a running
And-
back named Usher that I know Terry Brunell from the Daily Journal has really liked watching him. Let me try to find their.
They have an Italian exchange student that blocked a punt against Fremont and won it for them. I read that.
Oh yeah, that was like a crazy game.
That was.
It's nice to see them on the up and up again because I remember like when I like my first couple years in high school, they were like a quality ocean team. Mid
Uh-huh.
2000s when they had Julian Edelman, they were like beating MA. Yeah, Evan Usher, he's only a sophomore. He's really the guy to watch for, I think. But it's just again, when you've played at a C League level and you go out there against teams that have played higher competition, it takes a while to get up to speed. And like by the time you acclimate, you're in a 3-score hole, whether it's because of turnovers, because of penalties, because of just little breakdowns. It's tough.
And that's a long drive they're gonna have there.
Yeah, but and we'll talk about this more with you guys, but
Oh yeah.
playing on the road like that is fun. Just the one downside that a lot of coaches worry about, and we'll talk about this more when we get to D3 in particular, is like refs that are familiar with the other team and not you. But I think it's fun, so you're not just playing the same teams again. I think there's something really exciting to that.
Definitely.
I hadn't even heard of Stevenson like 2 days ago, and now we're playing them. So I think it's pretty cool.
And I'm sure they're pretty psyched to come up and play a program that's, had the amount of success that Palo Alto's had. They can say, yeah, we're going out there playing against Devontae Adams' school. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right.
But
Yeah.
I think if
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
going to predict right now, I'm going to go Palo Alto over Monterey in the final.
I like that. I like a little Monterey Cinderella story. I think it could happen.
Just in the last few years, I've seen the BVAL struggle in the playoffs, and even though Westmont's a quality team, I think Monterey's playing pretty good ball right now, even though they had that weird loss to Carmel. So I
Yeah.
could see Monterey going on. I might rethink this and say Westmont, but I definitely like Monterey against Westmont and Pally over Seaside for sure.
It's definitely a Salinas area, whatever that county's called, Monterey
Yeah,
County. It's a
Monterey County
very Monterey County heavy bracket we got
and a
here.
lot of BVAL.
The most northern team I think is Woodside. So yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
But we will move on to D4.
So I've seen Bellarmine 3 times. three very different games. I saw that super weird game against Reardon that they won 3-0, where both teams were playing through a lot of injuries. That was like Bellarmine's superstar running back got hurt, Ben Pfaff. He's legit. Then I saw them against SHC, where they were super shorthanded, missing their top two running backs, and Parker Freed, one of their QBs, was hurt, so they moved Nate Escalada back in at QB. And I really like Escalada at QB, but the thing is, it's tough to play both ways if you're playing QB, and he's also a really good safety, like a D1 level safety.
Right. Yeah, I've noticed that. And three is more of a runner QB.
Yeah, I like Escalada a lot, and they've done some cool sets where they've utilized both of them. But when I saw them against St. Francis, they look really bad that night, and it's too bad because if that's a game that the Bellarmine community goes all out for. Like Bellarmine has great support at every game, but the St. Francis game, that brings out the alums that have been around forever, and unfortunately, they just didn't play very well that night.
And I thought Bellarmine was kind of back. They were obviously amazing in 2010, 11, 13, 14, 15, top powerhouse in the section, And then they really struggled for a few years there. And then 2021, I thought they were back. They had a great job with Wade Smith, I believe is the QB was. They had that amazing program win versus Gatos. And then this year, they
had that win over MA last year that was huge. That was really like the coming out party, which was a super fun game.
And if they end up beating Jurion Dickey and MA, the week one, does their season go different if they hold on to that lead, that first half lead?
I don't know. I think the bigger what if is just like with all the injuries, but they still have a really quality team when they get their guys out there. Javon Reels on the edge is one of the guys who can actually like throw his weight around against the St. Francis and Sarah's, because like the gap between Bellarmine right now and like St. Francis and Sarah is just a sheer size on the line thing.
Yeah.
Like they don't have like that EPA connection that St. Francis and Sarah do that makes a difference, obviously.
Yeah.
But I like how they're playing right now, even though they got down 2 scores to Valley, which was weird. And then they just rattled off like 21 points by the end of the third quarter, or 23 points with a safety, and then another 7 in the fourth, and took care of things. But they're a tough team to predict. I would love to see them play Wilcox, which I think is what we're going to get.
Yeah. I don't know who I like because they're both MA and Beller teams that had really high expectations and kind of underachieved them coming into this 2022 season. And they're both meeting again after they obviously had a pretty insane matchup week one. But I think I'm leaning towards Bell just due to the fact that MA is just kind of struggling right now. Obviously they lost to SHP for the first time in 7 years, but also, I don't know. I think there's a lot of just uncertainty with the program right now.
I think Jurion's health is obviously such a big issue, even though it's obviously a team game and they've got a really good line. You got 2 D1 linemen, high level D1, might I add.
BYU. They're both really good players.
Yeah. I like, Solane is just like super tall, and Tangalanu in that game at Salinas last year really impressed me. That was a super fun game, but they lost a lot last year. It wasn't just Moss and Herb, Matt McLeod was on a D1 roster at Miami, Ohio. Stud.
Absolutely. He was a great kid and an unreal QB. Most under-recruited player in the country last year. I'm happy he found a spot.
Great quote, too. He was always have something really good to say post-game interviews. Really liked watching him.
This year, it's Andrew Latu, most under-recruited player in the country.
No, he's super slept on. There are some others too, like Zachary Jones, Javon Reels, a couple of SHC kids.
Jack Newman.
Facts.
Jack Newman's legit.
Yeah. When I got to the SHP game, I just see Latu get a one-handed pick 6, bro. That was crazy.
And then did you see Ethan the clip? He gave it to RJ and gave RJ a touchdown, which was so amazing.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
You didn't see that, Oliver? Yeah, he got.
I don't think I've seen the full highlights yet, but I'll be looking for that tonight.
RJ scored.
Who used to do stuff like that was like Ed Reed.
Yeah.
Except his wasn't just like, I want to get my teammate involved. It's just like, I'm going to get tackled. I'm just going to lateral to my other DB. But that's awesome.
Yeah, that was great.
I I think Wilcox and Aptos would be a really fun championship, but Aptos SI would be super fun. I know you like Half Moon Bay, but
Yeah,
I don't think SI is getting enough credit just for the level of skill they've played against this year.
that's
Like, not just in the WCAL, but I know
Mary's.
they caught Pally at the right time. Like, you guys were super banged up. But then they went out and played Jesuit, and then they played St. Mary Stockton. Like, they played as good a schedule as just about anybody.
That's true, yeah. And I feel like often the WCAL schools thrive actually in the playoffs, even when they're on a bad year, just because the WCAL is so ahead of every other.
Yeah, they beat up on each other, and you just got to come out of it healthy. And SI, they're missing one of their better linemen, their center right now, John O'Brien. He was hurt a lot last year, and he's hurt again right now. But even with that, I think they definitely beat Half Moon Bay. I think Half Moon Bay like frustrates them a bunch, like they frustrate everyone. But eventually they pull away.
So, what's your final predictions, Oliver and Ethan?
I think I got Wilcox in the final, but it's like, man, do they go up against SI or Aptos? Because
Yeah,
Aptos has been really good all year long. They've been really good for years. Randy Blankenship's an awesome coach. Like, he's not just good at the wing tee, he's like taught it to so many people. Anyone that's like on the Central Coast or in the Central Valley has learned from him if they run the wing tee. And they do it so fast. Like, the speed they operate at is what makes it so fun to watch. Because it's not just to chew up clock, it's like 8 yards a carry. But man, that Aptos Wilcox game would be so fun. So I think ultimately I'm going to pick Wilcox just because I don't know if they end up facing which of Aptos or SI, but SI played Wilcox close last year. I think ultimately, I guess I'll take Aptos over SI just on experience, and then Wilcox over Aptos, in which should be like a crazy fun championship game.
Yeah. I played two teams, Wilcox and SI, and I mean we played SI. It was week one, first time under head coach, so we were super banged up, but they were good, man. Like I thought that game was harder than Wilcox. Do I think they're a better team than Wilcox? No. So I like that matchup in the finals. Though I'm gonna go Wilcox over SI in the final.
yeah, and I'm gonna go Aptos beating Wilcox in the final. I think maybe this may change by the way. Also, everyone join Ethan's CCS playoff prediction bracket challenge. You can get a free concession stand hot dog. But yeah, I like Aptos Wilcox. I think I'm gonna go Aptos though. I think they're playing really good football right now. I know they lost to Palma, but I like that. I think Wilcox is not fraudulent, but they can be beat. I think Los Gatos really did prove that in that one game.
So
Yeah.
I'd say they could definitely be beat.
Yeah, I do like this Division 2. And let's move on to the top doggy of them all, Division 1. So we got Midi Gatos, Cathedral St. Francis, Sacred Heart, Salinas, and Palma Serra. What's your initial reactions this morning at 12 o'clock when you saw this released, Ethan? What was the biggest surprise of this?
Surprised that you guys dropped below Salinas. But as much as that sucks from the standpoint of you wish you could play at home and not have to make that trip and you worry about what a ref's going to be like on the road, the pit is the most fun environment in the section, even more fun than St. Francis. Talk to anyone from MA who played there. It is so much fun. It is an awesome stadium. The fans are right on top of you. There's no track around the field. You got the students behind the end zone. And it's going to be two totally different styles. Whereas, like, MA Salinas last year was, like, explosive both ways. You know, you guys are physical. You guys rally to the ball on defense. You guys are able to rip off some big plays on offense, but generally you're playing to control the clock.
Yeah, definitely.
And they can score in one play all game long. So, total contrast to styles. I think I like you guys there just because you guys have experience winning playoff games and they haven't had anywhere near as much playoff success the last few years. But that's going to be a great game. And Isaiah Hunter's a monster, and I hope he stays committed to Cal. You're going to be really impressed watching him.
Yeah, it's weird as a Cal commit. I guess I'm playing him. I mean, I don't expect to go in, but we'll see. But yeah, as a guy that's obviously on the Sacred Heart team and not going to wear pads ever again if we lose, which is very sad. I am super excited for this opportunity to play at Salinas. I think it's going to be a game that I'm going to obviously remember forever, no matter what the score is. And I remember I've been wanting to play at the Pit since last year when you hyped it up. My
It's
mom,
so fun.
it looks so cool. My mom's good friend is a ref, said he's refed like almost every school in CCS, and said that Salinas by far is the closest to like a Texas Friday Night Lights game where the whole town goes.
Oh yeah,
And
they run out through the smoke.
they're a legit team with Schaefer and Hunter, so it's going to be really fun. Our whole team, I think, for like about 20 minutes was really bummed that obviously we wanted a 3 seed. Or at least 4. But then we all got pretty excited that we're having an opportunity to go to Salinas High School and it's gonna be a game we'll remember. But yeah, so obviously we're 9-1. Let's got us to 8-2, and we have the head-to-head. So I know it's all computer based, but everyone's logic is just like Los Gatos runs it up on teams. They beat Homestead by like 55 and Milpitas by like 63. Like we put our bench players in the third quarter. Like I was telling Coach Grebe earlier at our football banquet, like you shouldn't have played me and all the other bench guys if we wanted to get a top seed. Is that the reason they're the 3?
That and you guys both had league champ points. I think playing Campo really helps them. Playing Live Oak, who split the league championship, helps them. The win over, well, you guys have a couple of similar wins. Let's see. Let me check. Who else did they play non-league that helps?
They
If
hosted
the math on this,
Corona
the
del
math
Mar.
on this doesn't quite check out. I mean, obviously, Corona del Mar is like awesome program. Chase Garbers and his brother both went there. John Humphreys, who's one of Stanford's best players, went there.
Yeah.
They beat Sarah in that state championship. They're awesome, and you should get rewarded for playing them, but it's tough to compare.
We don't have any very good away wins, which is I think maybe our issue.
I mean, they didn't beat anyone super big on the road other than I guess MA.
I think our leagues are pretty even too. I mean, we both
I think
do really strong
the
team.
depth of the PAL is better, even if Wilcox would be better than any of the other Bay teams.
Well, then we should be favored. It's just
I would have had you guys ahead, so I don't know how the math on that happened.
Yeah.
Especially considering that head-to-head win. So it's tough. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
But I think we got fun matchups out of it. So it's like no mistakes, just happy accidents.
I agree with that. And the reason it was so vital was not only because it's an easier matchup. I mean, I don't even know. Midi's a good team, but it's the second round reason too. I mean, you obviously, we got the 3, you're avoiding Sarah. But say we get this win, you get an opportunity to have an insane brother versus brother matchup in the Chung.
Occasions you guys aren't playing at the same time. All the SHP kids go out to Sarah games. All the Sarah kids come to SHP games.
Yeah, and it's all Hillsborough connections. But yeah, talking about
Sarah's
other
been playing so well. They've had a couple of kind of clunkers, like that SI game. It took them a while to get going. Bellarmine, they didn't really take off until the second half, but when they're at their best, like they were yesterday, good luck.
So good, man.
Yeah. And then so other side of the bracket, we talked about that side, obviously. 2 really good matchups. Could be obviously the Hillsborough battle we get, or even a Salinas Palma rematch. We'll see. But then Midi Gatos. So their coach was a Gatos QB, it looks like. And also I didn't even realize the Midi coach was the old Pally coach.
Yeah. I'm really glad he's finally having some major success because like he's been in some tough spots, having to follow up some really good coaches. He's finally had some like real time with his guys at Midi this year.
Yeah.
And
Wills Towers is good.
He's legit. It's again, Danny Scudero is one of the most ridiculous speed threats I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's going to be a really good game. Los Gatos is pretty run heavy. I don't know if they have the one like big play game breaker that Midi does. Jalen Thomas is a really good player. Mejia's good. Lucci Casale is a really good linebacker.
Will Brennan's also really good.
He's legit.
He did. And that's
he is the hardest guy I've ever had to tackle, though. That kid keeps his legs turning at all times.
Which one? Mejia?
Yeah, Mejia.
Really, even harder than like some of the Wilcox running backs that just like, well, I guess what the Wilcox guys do is like they fall forward rather than like.
Yeah, no, they do. Glenn
keeps his legs going. He never stops running.
I don't think I ever came face to face with Ludwig Glenn, but I heard he was tough. Um, but yeah, man, he is really good, man. He does all these jump cuts. He's shifty. He's strong. Um, yeah, and I think I like Gatos in that matchup. I like Franny like over SHC. I mean, yeah, SHP is gonna be tough in that environment.
Yeah.
I do think the SHP has been better all year, though. It's just, ugh. I think SHP is a better team, but I think there's a big home field advantage. But I'll go SHP anyway. And
I
then
think
Sarah.
I'm going SHP just because they've had playoff success. But
And obviously, I have Sarah winning it all. It's just against who. So,
I
uh,
will say, I think St. Francis would keep Sarah closer than last time. They're playing way better. One thing that's really changed, their defense has gotten so much better. They got a guy who transferred in from Elk Grove who just has kind of found his role lately. Ova Tui Ilela, number 45 for them. He's been awesome. He was great against Bellarmine, great against Mitty. And Doherty's been hurt the last 2 weeks, and they haven't missed a beat because Aaron Knapp is really good.
Yeah.
He's not like 6'4" or whatever, but he can play.
And
Just
Kiana Anna is one of the best running backs out there.
which one? Because they're both pretty good. They got two Kiana Anna kids, Kiala and Kingston, and Kiala's also a big time safety.
Uh-huh.
So it's like, where do you go? They got
I-
a lot of talent. That said, SHC only lost to them by 7 the first time, and they got killed by penalties that night. I know it was a super flag heavy game both ways, but the SHC folks were saying the refs were like out to get them all night. And this is a team that they've really wanted another shot at, and they get that. And for all the really good players St. Francis has, SHC has the two best players on the field in pretty much every game they play. I mean, you've seen Mixon and Miller; they're amazing.
Yeah, there are one loss. I mean, Mixon's a dog, and I think R.L. Miller is one of the most well, he's not under recruited, but he's one of the most underrated players in CCS just because who his teammate is. He is such a good receiver. And he plays linebacker now.
Yeah, because he just kept growing, and the graduated guy who played linebacker last year, Bruce Uberesa, who was another awesome player. But it's like, RL's got like 6 defensive touchdowns, 5 or 6, including one against Bellarmine that was so cool. It was just an option pitch that you just ran and snatched out of midair.
Yeah.
That's sick.
I do think St. Francis wins this game just because they've been playing their best lately. But I don't think they roll over them. I think they beat them by about 7 again, maybe 10. I think we're going to get that Sarah St. Francis final ultimately.
Sadly, yeah,
I
I
think
think we will.
Sarah takes it in a closer game than last time. I don't think they just like run away from them. But if Sarah plays like they did against SHC yesterday, good luck.
Oh man, I was really looking forward just to a 3-6 matchup versus Midian and playing St. Francis at the Rage Cage.
I wanted to see you guys play St. Francis. There's definitely another one. There are a lot of guys who know each other there between
Yeah.
the southern end of San Mateo County, north end of Santa Clara County. So it sucks that that's going to be, a lot would have to break for that matchup to happen. But
Yeah, and we would have our alumni come back for that Sarah CCS ship if we were to make that. But it's all good. Salinas at the pit is going to be a once in a lifetime opportunity, I think. So yeah.
it's such a fun place to play. And I think you guys can take them, even though they've got a couple of ridiculous players. It's not just Hunter. Aiden Flynn at linebacker gets in the backfield on every play. 2 or 3 of the scoring drives MA had against him last year was when he was out injured.
Would
He's
you
a game
pull?
changer.
Would SF Standard fire you if you pull up?
No, but I'm not going to chance it as much as I want to see that game.
You can watch the
I
stream.
want to see Bell MA. I want to see Los Gatos Midi. I hate that everything's at the same time.
Yeah, I was gonna ask
Los
you.
Gatos Midi's going to be nuts.
I was gonna ask you if you're watching. I assume 2 games. So which ones are you watching?
Well, I'm going to start Friday with like a City League public school game. Do kind of a cool thing there. Probably with like one of the teams that's not going to the playoffs, so I can show them some love. But I'm thinking probably do the SHC game and send a freelancer to SI, and then probably go see Menlo Kings Academy, and then hopefully a NorCal volleyball final Saturday night. You know, I know SHP volleyball, are they NorCal Open Division?
They are, yeah. I mean, I haven't even talked about it that much. They're really, really good this year. They were the 3 seed in CCS, but they're like 10th in the state. And the reason the 3 in CCS is because St. Francis and Midi are like the best 2 teams in the state, so they're just not going to get by them. But they're in the open.
Yeah,
They're in
same.
the open
I was looking at the record.
now.
St. Francis is 31-0.
Yeah, they're the best in the state. But
I've
yeah,
watched St. Francis a couple times. They're insane. You know, there are some SoCal teams that are on a different level, but like clearly the 2 best in Northern California.
yeah, we're in the same bracket as like Sierra Canyon and then obviously St. Francis. So that's pretty cool for them. And every girl on the team is a junior except 2, so they'll be really good next year. But yeah, about this, you know what you could do, Ethan? You could go to obviously you're gonna be at St. Francis. Say it's somehow a blowout. Drive over to Gatos. I don't know, maybe catch that. I don't know. Maybe that's kind of far.
Good
But
luck
yeah,
finding parking there. It's gonna be
no
rocking there. I love
Yeah.
that 2 years in a row. You know, it's like instant shot at redemption for Los Gatos after the way they
Right.
lost to Bellarmine last year.
That's
That's
another
gonna
W
be.
Cal South school. Yeah.
I think that's gonna be super fun. And I think whoever gets St. Francis or SHC, that side of the bracket, ultimately, like I said, I think St. Francis gets into the final, but they've had some struggles in playoff games, not just last year. They've had a lot of years where they've looked really good and then like lost to a team that they had beaten in the regular season, whether it was like Sarah last year, Valley Christian a few years ago. So a lot could happen, but I love the way St. Francis is playing right now. So I think they do ultimately get to the final, but I want to see what SHC throws at them, how they bounce back from kind of getting their doors blown off yesterday. This is going to be a fun bracket, even if you've got, the best team the CCS has had basically in a long time with this particular Sarah team. And what's scary is how young they are.
Yeah.
They're pretty junior heavy, and they got a bunch of sophomores.
First 10-0 Sarah team ever. Shout out them. So my predictions, I'll obviously go Sarah over Palma. Closer than the experts think. I like Palma to cover the plus 20.5 spread. Sacred Heart Prep Salinas. Salinas is favored minus 3.5. I like Sacred Heart to cover and win it outright. Isaiah Hunter versus Carter Shaw, battle of the century. A lot of people are saying it's the pit versus the palace. AB song. It's gonna be a great game. Sacred Heart Cathedral versus St. Francis. I was really hot on Cathedral. I thought they were going to win this game, but then they really did not look good versus Sarah. I know it's Sarah, but I think St. Francis is really hot right now. I mean, they haven't lost since that Sarah loss. They played a really good non-conference. I like Aaron Knapp or Matthew Daugherty, whatever QB to get it done. And I like Los Gatos to beat Midi. That's what Sacred Heart's spot should be. Man, it's pissing me off. But yeah, Gatos then to beat St. Francis in a really, really good battle over there. And then Sacred Heart Sarah, the real championship, as in my opinion, Sacred Heart is the second best team in the section. Obviously biased. I like Sarah to win that. Closer than the experts think. And Sarah Gatos championship, because I think Gatos will end up making the championship. And at the end of the day, Ethan, I think Gatos does deserve, long night here. Gatos does end up deserving to get the 3 at one point, because last year they kind of got screwed having to play in a 5-4 matchup, right? Where they had to play Bell, and after going 10-0 that year, so they have a much better draw this year, I think, and they have a way to go to the CCS championship and play Sarah, where I like Sarah to win, and end up playing Mater Dei again.
Well, if St. Mary Stockton wins Sac Joaquin, there's an argument between those two. Remember, St. Mary Stockton had larger wins against both SI and Central Catholic. They got 2 mutual opponents there.
That's true.
And they probably have to beat Folsom to do it. So
question I have is, say St. Mary's goes down somehow, because that could still happen. They have to play Folsom.
Folsom could totally get them.
Yeah, and then Sarah goes down somehow. Is the argument that, and somehow Sacred Heart Prep, since we're the only other one-loss team, or Salinas, Sacred Heart Prep wins D1. We will somehow win D1, take down Sarah. Is there a shot we're playing Mater Dei? Is it between us and Folsom? because we would have beat Sarah.
It would go to whoever wins Sac Joaquin D1. The Sac Joaquin
Oh.
D1 is stacked. No disrespect to you guys,
No,
but
that's- honestly, we only have 170 in our grade. If we were to play modern day, that would be one of the most wild things ever happened.
I think you guys, if you got through, you'd be like in Division 1A or something, and
Play
you'd be playing a
Pittsburgh.
NorCal regional game.
Yeah, that'd be cool. But yeah, anyway, it's been an amazing season. I'm enjoying it, and Oliver and I both once again back in the playoffs. It's nice to be back. And Ethan, great job covering high school football once again. You got high school basketball coming up too.
Already been working on schedules for that. And watch out for the Gators at that Crusader Classic to open the year, playing against University first round.
Really?
Got
Okay.
SRV on that side of the bracket. Got Menlo on that side. It's going to be good.
Watch out for the Vikings too. They got Ethan Wong.
Watch out for that Jeff Lemire defense.
Facts. A lot of 31 to 30 games coming your way soon from the Vikings.
I might be able to come to that Pally Gun game. I hope I can.
Dude, I think Gun's gonna beat us again. Gun's good.
Really?
Like they're actually pretty good. Surprisingly.
You got them
I
in
hope I
football.
can make that game, especially after the beef from the football game.
Yeah, dude, the student section's gonna be crazy. It's probably gonna be at Gun. So yeah.
It's going to be wild.
Yeah. All right. So great preview once again. It's midnight. We on that grind, of course.
I gotta sleep. We got school.
Yeah, but thank you for joining
Sorry
us.
for getting a little long-winded.
And we'll see ya.
All right.